I don't understand the anonymity. So anyway, so here we go. So let's get started. The call is on. Let's start off with some wins. I know we had some wins out there.
I'm under contract on a client.
Who's this?
This is JC.
Always, try and announce yourself on the way in. So everybody, that's okay.
So I have a client that I picked up that was a referral that was given to me a couple months ago by one of my best SOI people ever. And it's been super frustrating because we've seen a couple that had backup offer status where they called the agent directly. He said, oh, yeah, we'll write an offer for you, no problem. Then once, their agent got involved, it was a whole different thing. So these people were super getting frustrated. We made an offer on another house, didn't get it. They just kept coming back and forth. Was kind of giving us a bad name in the industry, and then finally I found a house, came out that day, went, put an offer on it. The agent told me, they're like, well, and we sat at like 6 o'clock at night. He's like, I've got 2 other showings set up for tomorrow. I said, well, I'm sending you an offer. And he's like, well, I don't know that they're going to take it. I'm like, it's at your price. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't and just cancel your showings, because that's a what if where this is a solid deal. And then to sweeten the pot, I actually did send them nice warm crumble cookies, freshly baked, delivered right to their door from the buyer, saying, thank you for letting us see your house. We really love it. Wrote a nice letter with the offer, and we got our offer accepted. So
sweet. So you sent the cookies to the seller. Well, I mean,
correct.
But from the buyer, so.
From the buyer, yes, I did.
That's awesome, JC.
Yeah, you paid for it, but you just made it sound like it was from the buyer.
Right, and I got there probably 20 minutes early, so I watched them getting out of the house. I knew they had lived there for 30 years or whatever the number was, and they had 2 teenage boys. So knowing teenage boys, hot crumbled cookies, it was a no-brainer to send it. You know what I mean?
Right. That's a great story. Love hearing that. So, and all it is just, I mean, it's a simple task. It's like, sometimes we get lazy, we get in our own way, and we're like, God, the buyer shows up, you just want to hand them a key box and a Repsy and say, let me know when my check is ready. I mean, we have to kind of get out of that mindset and really, really get into serving our clients, because, the technology companies keep trying to chip away at our industry. And will technology replace the agent? No, because it is a human interaction. However, when you don't actually provide services, well, then technology can replace you, but however, when you do little things like what you just did, JC, technology can never replace that.
Right.
Just can't do it. So, and that's the thing. And those are the things that, and then think about it from, all right, let's say you are lazy, right? So what if you went and spent an extra hour? Well, how many hours of showing houses did that save you by getting the house they wanted, right? So, I mean, let's think about it. Let me appeal to your lazy side. By doing that, then you can get lazy because you can stop showing them houses.
Right. And they were getting to the point where they were so frustrated because we had agents that weren't responsive to us. So I had to keep them going, hey, it's not me. Like, look, I have text messages. We're going back and forth, and so they were getting frustrated because they're first-time home buyers. And with the, having to get in and run, and then they also had a lease ending the end of March. So, I mean, they were obviously up in the night trying to get this done. And honestly, the parents got involved with the inspection because I was out of town when they had the inspection and everything else. And they were impressed by how I handled it too. So it was kind of nice because the first time I met with the parents, they were more like, we know what we're doing, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
And then when they saw that I went the extra mile to get these guys what they needed, they were super excited. And the people were super excited because they didn't have to pay as much on like the closing costs and things like that. So we were able to negotiate a really solid deal too. So it was a very good one.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Anybody else have any good stories, good wins?
Yeah, I got a call from an SOI, and I've got an appointment today with them. They're going to buy a house.
Who's this? Who's speaking?
This is Amy.
Hi, sorry. Amy. Yeah, please announce yourself when you know. So, because this isn't the greatest of audio quality sound where we can all tell each other apart. Maybe me, you all know my voice so much. So, I'm sorry. Say it again. So you had
I got a call from my SOI last night.
Okay.
And I have a buyer's appointment with him today. And one shame on me, I didn't stay in touch with these guys as much as I should have, because they had another agent show them homes already. They have signed nothing and they don't like them. So now I'm involved. So.
Right. So in other words, if you would have had more contact with them, they wouldn't have been even talking to the other agent. But here's the good news. That let's look at the silver lining is now they'll because Amy's a very quality agent and people love her, and so she's going to provide great service, and so the contrast is actually going to help you get referrals.
Right.
Because now that you've dealt with a schmuck, let's look at what quality service looks like. So make lemonades out of that opportunity.
Oh, I am. I'm just saying.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm saying that to everybody too. That's not just you. I mean, everybody on the call. So Robin, you got some stories, don't you?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, I've had kind of an amazing week, to be honest. And I just kind of go back to to what's already been said, JC just about going above and beyond, and then Amy just plain being a good agent. It's kind of not that hard to stand out, I feel like, because there is so many not, subpar agents, I'll call it.
Right, that's a good word.
I have a Harvard Yale listing coming up that I had met last summer, and I just kind of kept in contact with them, and they wanted to finish out their basement. So I had gone over, it's been 6 months, and did a consult on how to lay out their basement, got them a contractor. They ended up getting that finished. It looks amazing. And sure enough, they're moving to Texas probably. So now I'm going to get the listing. And it kind of goes back to, I was just helpful. I was happy to help them. If they ever were going to go sell, obviously the hope was there, I would get the listing. But if they didn't, hopefully they would refer me to somebody else. And I just feel like things what you send out kind of comes back to you. So, and then just a couple of experiences with buyers, you show up and they're super hesitant because you can just tell they've just worked with some people that they haven't been super impressed by. And if you just go a little bit the extra mile, we looked at a property that had some passive income opportunities. And so I kind of showed up with some, ideas about what things could rent for and how they could earn extra money here and, whatever else. And I think they were just impressed that somebody would even take the time to do that. And for me, it took an extra 10 minutes is all. It was just not a big deal, but just most people just don't do that little bit of extra. And then, then they just are immediately, that client particularly, we went to some showings yesterday. He's a designer. He designs apparel and handbags. He literally brought me 4 handbags. I'm like, what? It was crazy. I'm like, this is nuts. But
I've seen you carry a bag big enough where you need 4, so I don't know.
But anyway, I don't know. And I just, I subscribe to that philosophy that you're always just helpful and you're in it just to be helpful, and business just comes. I got 2 other calls this week for listings that are just people I've been helpful to. And so it's pretty exciting. And I will say, after, I think that was the last call, Rob just kind of talked about get out there and just pick up the phone and just talk to people. And that's really hard for me. I don't like the phone. I'm much more comfortable just with people, but phone, I'm not very good at. And I'm definitely not salesy. So I feel like if I'm ever up against a really salesy agent, they can always win, because I'm not like that. People have to take me because they trust me, kind of thing. But
right.
I really tried to make a huge effort the last couple of weeks just to
reach out to people that I keep in contact with anyway. And there's always kind of that fear like, oh, you know, are they going to think I'm bugging them or whatever? And so when I was taking Valentine gifts to my high referrals in SOI a couple weeks ago, there was one family that I kind of talked to her a little bit last fall, and you know, they're kind of in that middle land. And so I dropped it by, and it just started up this whole new conversation of maybe selling their house and buying something different, you know, whatever else. And then I've got another family who kind of casually looks. And so I was telling Rob the other day, I try to just think of new news, because if I have something that's new news, then I have a reason to like reach out to them. Like I might just send them a new listing and just say, hey, this kind of fits your parameters. If you're interested, let me know. So you just kind of keep that open dialogue, you know, or I might send them a note, hey, interest rates went down today. You know, I just thought you might want to know because I know you're going to kind of been toying with buying. And so sometimes I'll even just reach out and say, hey, I know you have a good tile guy. Can you send me the name of your tile guy? I've got another client who needs some work done. So you just like find news to have a reason to send a note out to somebody, and it, you know, helps keep you top of mind.
Yep. So, and I want to segue on that, not segue, but expand on that. Look for news, right? So, you know, rather than just call, there's two things I picked up on, Robin. One of them is, and I'm going to, first, let's applaud for just doing it right and getting out there and just contacting people. That's the game, right? This is a contact sport, period. You know, I post those Mike Ferry videos up on our Facebook group. I mean, you guys just need to watch those and subscribe to us and get his email every Monday morning. He sends out a great video. And it's the same theme, and it's the same theme I teach. You know, I come from the Mike Ferry School. Now, yeah, technology is great. I mean, it'll get, even if you use tech leads and get web leads, you still got to call them up, talk to them. I mean, at some point, you've got to talk to people. I mean, there's no getting around it, right? Mm-hmm. So what I want to follow up on, I love the idea of news. I got news, right? So I used to do that every once in a while. I would just go in the MLS and find what I would consider to be a really good deal, you know, or at least it would be a good deal on paper. You know, it might be a dump, but on paper it kind of worked out, right? And so I would just call up people and just say, hey, you know, I was looking at homes and I came across this really good deal. And I was wondering, who do you know that maybe consider buying or selling, maybe even investing in real estate, or, you know, find something and the whole purpose was not to sell that house, not to, you know, but it was just a reason to call them. And interest rates is a good one. Hey, look, interest rates have dropped, and, you know, and all things indicate that they're going to go up in 2019. And they may go up considerably. I mean, they're not going to go up like they did in the 80s, you know, 18 percentile or anything like that. However, you know, if they go up 1%, that's 10% of your buying power. So, you know, but anyway, you call up and say, hey, because rates have dropped, if you're considering, or if you know anybody that's considering buying or selling a home, please call me, you know, and let's talk. So the other thing I want to expand on what Robin said, I'm not salesy, right? So the problem with that statement is it's not so much, Robin, that you're not salesy. It's just that you have a perception or a definition of sales that's different than mine. So most people, when you and they really want to change everybody's mindset right now today about the word sales. Okay, sales. When we think of salespeople, we think of some grease-back hair, you know, slick car salesman. You know, what's it going to take to put you in that car today? You know, that's what we think. But the truth is, we are in sales. People that are selling their home are looking to hire a salesperson. But so the thing is, though, you've got to change your definition of what sales is, right? We're not salespeople. We're sales professionals. You get that? We're professionals. We're high-quality people, and there's nothing wrong with that. I make no apologies for being a high-quality professional salesperson, right? So, but here's the definition of sales, and if you can write this down, I mean, I know this by heart. I can tell it to you anytime you want. But so the definition of sales is a series of questions that leads people to a decision. It's that simple. That's it. I'm curious, when do you plan on moving? Well, we're not. Okay, that's it. But let me ask you, if you were to move, or, well, we're thinking about selling our house. Awesome. So when you sell this, where are you guys moving to? Oh, to move to South Jordan. What's exciting? Well, how soon did you want to be in your new place? Oh, you want to be there in 3 months? Well, let me ask you, did you want to be in your new place in 3 months, or do you just want to start the process in 3 months? Well, we want to be in our new place in 3 months. Oh, okay, great. So it could take several weeks and to get your home ready, and then maybe another 30 days possibly to get your home sold. So, did you want to get together today or tomorrow? Right, and all I'm doing is asking questions, right? But the thing is, sales, and the key is, again, and it took me a long time to redefine sales as a professional, right? Not as a slick car salesman. You just have to get over that. And you're not a slick car salesman. You are quality people, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be in this company. If I thought you were slimy people, I wouldn't have you in Aubrey and Associates. I mean, I wouldn't want my name associated with that. Now, you guys know me. I'm all about serving, right? But I'm also clear that I'm a highly skilled, highly trained sales professional. Period. And I make no apologies for that. And then the thing is, you just, like I said, again, you have to redefine sales in your subconscious. And when you do that, you will find that sales is that there's nothing wrong with being, and like I said, if somebody needs to sell their house, guess what? They want a salesperson, period. Right? People are like, well, I'm a consultant. Really? Well, what do you consult the seller to do? Which salesperson they should hire? I mean, that's ridiculous being a consultant. Yes, we are consultants. That's just part of our task. But, go look, for everybody that doesn't have a broker's license on this call, go look at your license and see what the Division of Real Estate calls you. They call you a sales agent. So, and again, and it boils down to you just have to have a different definition of sales, right? Does that make sense to all you guys on the call?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very important to do that. And then I'm going to talk some more about something else about that, but let's get into any struggles. Anybody have any struggling? What are you guys struggling with? Any kind of lead generation or anything like that? So nothing.
Rob,
okay.
I came on the call a little late. Missed some wins.
This is Charles. Okay.
And I just was thinking, I thought Robin was talking about wins, and we were going to get back in more wins.
Okay, go for it. Yeah. Sorry about that.
One of the things that I managed to get done this week that I'm kind of proud of myself is letting go of a client that was just eating time and not being reasonable. And then I've got a good lead on a couple of past clients that are going to buy and sell at the same time. So I wanted to share that with the group.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I mean, how many people here? I mean, so we don't like to fire clients because, the number one reason we don't like to fire clients is because you don't have enough, right? So think about this. How would you behave right now? Think about this. How would you behave if you had 5 listings, 5 pending sales, and 12 good leads, and you had somebody that was just sucking all your time and not being reasonable? I mean, you just cut them loose in a heartbeat. But if you don't have all that business, you're going to stay with that person. The problem is they're going to drag you down, right? Drag you down. Then your attitude, even when you're on the phone with good clients, your attitude is going to be, there's an underlying vibration that's taking place that your good clients will pick up and walk away. So you won't even make money with a guy that's a lousy client, and then your underlying vibration, like I said, and it's ever so slightly, but people pick up on it, and they'll leave too. Then you start losing all your good stuff. You make no money on the bad guy. You lose all your good clients. So get rid of people, right? I mean, I probably have fired more people than the average agent's ever hired. Seriously, when I was an active agent, and when I was pounding the phones every day, I mean, I had rules, right? My rules are, number one, you must be nice, right? Period. If you were not nice, I didn't work with you. I had no problem saying, I'm not your agent. Go work for somebody else. But I also gave them latitude, knowing based on their circumstances. You have to understand their circumstances. If they're going through a really rough period, I'd give them a little bit of latitude on, how they could be in bad moods here and there, and that's fine. Number two, they had to be motivated, highly motivated, right? Because we all know if they're not highly motivated, they're not going to do what it takes to buy or sell a house, right? Well, why do we need to bring them documented? I don't feel like it. Well, then, come on, motivated people take action. Right? You go on a listing appointment and you give them like a week's worth of projects to get the house ready for sale. You got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then they call you back like 3 days later, hey, we got it all done. And you go over there and you're like, holy crap, it's all done. I mean, that's highly motivated, because motivated people take action. Right? And then the third rule was you have to work my systems. I mean, in other words, I'm not going to work your system. You're not going to run the show, and I'm going to come around behind you with a broom every day, cleaning up behind you. Nuh-uh. No, I'm running a business. I'm efficient. I know exactly what I'm doing. I have your best interest at heart. I'm going to help you either get the top dollar, or I'm going to help you find a great house. But we're on my systems, and again, I always get a little latitude, because just moving just wigs people out. So I give a little bit of latitude, but those were my basic rules. Number one, you must be nice. Number two, you have to be motivated. And we all know if they're not motivated, it just doesn't sell. It's just that simple. And number three, you have to work my systems, because I have more than one client, or if you don't, you should at least behave that way, because then you'll think, when you behave as if you have 5 listings, 5 pending sales, and 12 good leads, then you have a swagger that people, and then that vibration will attract more nice people, attract more motivated people, and things like that. It's just the way it works, right? So I want to read a little thing I got, one of my emails back from, 2002 to whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it was called Simplify and Declutter, right? Just 2 short little paragraphs. Number 1, it says, do you have stuff in your life you don't need? Stuff that takes energy to take care of, stuff that is using up space, leaving little for the new. Let go of things in your life that are draining energy. Throw away 100 things, give away 100 more. Make space physically and mentally. Are your file cabinets so full you have no room for any new business? Create physical space, and the vacuum will attract new business. Stop tolerating. Forgive. Let go of associations that no longer fit who you've become, right? And who you've become is a person, regardless of whether you actually physically have this or not. Your mindset is you have 5 listings, you have 5 pending sales, and 12 great leads. Now, I want you to walk around with that swagger. Right? I want you to behave that way. When you start behaving that way, you will be surprised at how many more people are going to be attracted to you. You're going to start attracting qualified, motivated people that are nice, because your demeanor is that's I don't tolerate anything else, and then therefore all you're going to attract. So when you don't have anything, you start getting desperate. You just start attracting people that are not nice, not motivated. So anyway, I believe in that little 2-paragraph section of an email I received 1,000 years ago. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you. And Charles, and thanks JC, Robin, and Charles. Those are great stories. I mean, JC winning a bid just by going a little extra mile. Robin just picking up the phone, talking to some people, boom, leads, listing appointments, boom. Charles, it's just saying, hey, screw that. I've had enough of this guy. I'm cutting him loose, right? And then look what happened, Charles. As soon as you cut him loose, what happened? You picked up a good quality lead, right?
Yeah, I got very good quality leads.
Yeah, because see, you're telling the universe that I don't tolerate bad leads. I only accept good ones.
Yeah, worked out well.
Great. That's a great story.
Can I just add something to what you said, Rob?
Yes, ma'am.
I think there are a lot of people that kind of sit in that kind of no man's land, that they really are kind of entertaining moving, but, they're not motivated because they're not quite there. And so to Amy's point, it's like I was kind of struggling with that because I felt like I had, stuff kind of everywhere. And I was like, okay, I wasn't, sorry, dog noise. I finally just kind of made a list on a board in front of my face, and I'm remembering to write people that I've kind of come into contact with so that I can remember to go back and just send them a note every so often, just to keep on their radar, right? But also I need to keep them on my radar. And that's kind of a hard thing to do. Like we talk to so many people all the time. So I finally just started writing it right in front of my face. So if I'm sitting at my desk and I'm working, I look and be like, okay, I haven't talked to Nancy in a couple of months. I'm going to shoot her just a quick note or whatever. But I just think, I had to kind of teach myself to be organized enough to keep on them because, you want to keep up with those people. They might not be motivated now, but in 6 months they might be motivated, right?
Right.
So it's like, you got to keep on their radar.
Well, exactly. And that is a lead follow-up system. I'm going to tell you guys a story. So years ago when I was in coaching and I was paying $1,000 a month for coaching, and I was in this similar program we had, it was they called it the prospecting program, and where you had an accountability partner. So in our partners back then, we all prospected 2 hours a day. So all my partners, and I had to call my partner at 8 a.m., and then when I was done at 10 a.m., I had to call back. So, but we all prospected the same number of hours at the same exact time. So my team, anyway. So one day, and then so every other week we had a group call with our group of 4, and then every other week we had a one-on-one call. So my coach says to me, my inventory was low, and he goes, something's not making sense here. He goes, he says, well, who are you calling? I'm like, well, I call FSBOs and expireds, and then I call SOI. He goes, okay, those are all the high probability calls, so that, you should have a higher inventory. Then he said to me, he said, well, I heard you, he says, I've heard your role play, so I know your skills are there. I know your scripts and dialogue. He's like, I just can't figure it out. He's like, I can hear him thinking on the other end. Something's not right. He says, even if you puffed on your numbers 25% of the, if I'm telling him I made 25% more calls than I actually did, he said, you should still have a higher inventory. So finally he said to me, hey, tell me about your lead follow-up program. And I said, well, what's that? And he's like, really? I said, well, you never told me to do anything. You just told me to make calls every day. So I've been making calls every day. I mean, I've done everything you've told me to do. And it was an aha moment for both of us. For me, it was like, okay, well, I need to be following up, right? And then for him, it was like, I need to tell my people I got to follow up. I mean, it was like, he just assumed I would. I'm like, well, you never told me to. I've done everything exactly what you told me to do. And then so he sat down with me, and so my call was about lead follow-up. So that's when I learned about the inside 30 and the outside 30, right? And you all heard those inside 30 people that are going to do something inside of 30 days. You need to follow up with them like almost every other day. And then those that are outside 30, somebody says, well, we're thinking about moving, but, we're not going to do anything until maybe the spring, right? Or, maybe the summer when the kids are out of school. Okay. So then you can even ask, and then I always double check the question, right? So let me ask you a question. Did you want to be moved by that time, or do you just want to start the process at that time, right? So you kind of probe in. But they say, no, we're not going to do anything. We don't want to put the house on the market. So, we're considering, but we don't want to put the house on the market till the kids are out of school. Okay, great. Well, that's a lead, right? But you just have to put it on your calendar to follow up with them, say 30 or 60 days from now, just to keep in touch with them. Hey, how's it going? Anything change? You guys still, the last time we talked, you consider moving. Has anything changed, And they're like, no. But just put it on your calendar. Open up your calendar. and just add the date and the time to call that person. Put their name and their phone number in the subject line of the meeting event. That way, all you have to do is tap on your phone, and their phone number is sitting right there, and you open up your calendar, and then their name and their phone number is in the subject line of the meeting event. You just tap on their phone number and call them, right? It's that simple. So make it easy on yourself. And then, but he had me buy 3 accordion folders that had 1 through 31 in it. And I had to put a sticker on it. And so, and I would do 3 months, right? So let's say it was February, right? So the front folder had February, the next folder had March, and the next one had April. And so, of course, we did everything with paper. So I did a lead sheet. I would have a lead sheet on them. And if I had to call them in 2 weeks, then today's what? Today's whatever today is, the 18th. I would figure out two Mondays from now, I would go to the folder that had that date. So that would be like maybe March something. And I would just stick it in that day. And then every day when I came in the office, I just picked up whatever lead sheet was in that particular day, and I made those calls. So that's how I made those calls. And then when at the end of February came, so I'd had March and April, I would just take May, stick it on the February folder, and I would stick that folder at the back. And I just had 90 days worth of folders to follow up with. And it was the best thing. It changed my life by having a simple lead follow-up system. But today with technology, now I still like paper for leads, and I kind of gotten out of the habit myself because we kind of miss them, right? So what I'm going to recommend, and in fact I even plan to do it myself, is to go back to a 3-ring binder where I have leads in there, and they'll be categorized, and I'm going to kind of put dates on there. But you should you're never going to have more than 10, 12, 15 leads at a time. And if you got 30 leads, you don't have 30 leads, you have a list. 30 leads are people you talk to, right? That kind of stuff. So it's important to keep those. Lead follow-up is in, I heard a great quote the other day, and they used the F word. I won't use it. But he's like, the F-up is in the follow-up, So, and I thought it was like, the way he said it, it kind of startled me a bit, but it's so true. That's where we screw up, is in the follow-up. So, and then after a while, and then I've learned that the real money is in the follow-up. The real money is in the follow-up.
That's 100% true. I totally think that's so true.
Because, like you said, if they're not ready for 6 or 9 months, well, does that mean you just forget about them? No. It just means you have a system so that you can follow up with them in the future. And we all have a Google Calendar. Just put their name, open up your calendar, type in the date or click on the date, whatever, type in their name and their phone number in the meeting event subject line, and then, put a 5-minute reminder. And like I said, it doesn't matter. You just pick up your phone, tap on the calendar, or if the event pops up on your phone, then you just open it and tap on their phone number and you're calling, period. It's that simple. So, yeah, the money's in the follow-up. So
I like that system with my the Lion Desk that I use for just clicking the dates to follow up on the task. And
right.
It just shows up every day when I get in there.
Right. Google Calendar does the same thing. If you have a good CRM, then use so whatever, the best CRM is the one you use.
Absolutely agree. If we're not using it, it's not worth having it. Right.
And then you're better off with pencil and paper. Even Mike Ferry, I just watched Mike Ferry say it on a video the other day. He says the best is the 3x5 index card. He says you can do it. He says technology's great. He says, if you're running like web leads, then you have to have some kind of system where the lead goes in, they get an automatic drip system. But if you're not running web leads and you're just working your SOI, even FSBOs and expireds, then paper is probably one of the best systems you're ever going to get because you carry it with you. Because, we have so much information in our computers and our phones, but it's not in our face. Like Robin said, she puts it on paper on her desk, now it's in her face. So if you have a 3-ring binder and you have a lead sheet and you write down information on it, and then you just take it with you everywhere you go. So you get in your car, you take your binder with you, even if it's just a folder. And you take your lead sheets with you. You got maybe 10 sheets of paper in there. You show up for an appointment, you get there 10 minutes early, buyer texts you, says they're running 15 minutes late. Well, you got 25 minutes to kill. Great. Pull out your folder and start making some lead follow-up calls. if it's appropriate. I mean, if you just talked to them 10 minutes ago, no, don't. I mean, you don't be stupid, but you get it. So be efficient with your time. If you have to sit and wait, you have a phone and you have all that information. So, but if you have it, then you just make notes. So, and then like Robin said, look for excuses to call. So if you have a good buyer lead and rates drop, call them up. Hey, I just wanted to let you know rates dropped today. That can mean the difference of getting the 2-car garage or the 1-car garage or whatever it is, whatever their hot button is. And the key is to know their hot button. So I was curious, hey, rates. I was just curious, rates, or you call them up and say, hey, rates dropped, and I was wondering, are you still interested in buying a home? If they say, yeah, well, you do understand because rates dropped, that actually help you buy more home. Does that make sense? And they go, yeah. So wouldn't it make sense to start looking now? And if they say, well, yeah, I say, great. Well, let's get together. Which would be better for you, Monday or Tuesday at 4, right? Just go right for the appointment and set an appointment. And all it is just a series of questions. And the thing is, we're again, back to the definition of sales. When you're not interested in someone's product, they're annoying. But if they're motivated and they're interested in buying or selling, they're not annoyed by you being assertive and asking them questions. When they're motivated, you're actually sweet music. If they have to sell their home, you're sweet music. That doesn't mean you're arrogant and things like that. I don't mean that. I'm just talking about natural conversation questions, right? So I'm curious, well, when would you like to be in your new house? Right? I mean, it's just a simple question. So with that said, is the Mike Ferry event. I'm going to get ready to send out an email. It'll be probably later today. I have a 10 o'clock call, and then I have 11:30 phone call. So I'll be working on the email. But the Mike Ferry event, it's up on their website if you go to MikeFerry.com. And I encourage everybody in here. I mean, I encourage the whole company to go. I mean, I know that's a lofty goal and probably won't happen. We have a lot of part-timers, things like that. But this is the event that changed my life. One of those events that just changed my life. So it's in Salt Lake City from March 26th to the 29th, right? That's Tuesday through Tuesday through Friday, I think. So yeah, Tuesday through Friday. It's so it's a 4-day event, and let's see the price, and we get $100 discount if we sign up 10 people. And the way that works is you have to give me a check or a debit card, and then pay me, and then I pay them once, right? So in other words, they don't, the discount is by collecting one person. So so let's see, yeah. So anyway, so I encourage everybody on this call because I think it'll help you. In fact, I know it will improve everybody's business, period, if you apply what you learn, right? I'm listening to Think and Grow Rich. I'm on my 4th go-around. I committed to listen to it 5 times in a row. So I walk every day for an hour, and I listen to this book, Think and Grow Rich. And then so when it ends, I just start it from the beginning again. I'm on my 4th time. And one of the things that I hear in there is, they say knowledge is power. And he goes, well, that's not true. He says it's partially true. He says using knowledge is the power. He says power without any application it doesn't have any value. And I'm like, what a great thought. I mean, because we all believe knowledge is power, and I believe it is true. And then but you have to use knowledge you have. If you're not, you can have all the knowledge you want, but if you're not out there generating leads, well, then there's no power behind that at all because you can't help people. And one of the things I like to say is, are there other agents out there? Think about it. Are there other agents out there that are not very good, right? And the answer is absolutely, right? Well, here's the thing. If you don't call them, right, they're going to get stuck using one of those agents. So you need to do what's right for them and call them so that they don't get stuck with one of those bad agents. So, and again, I'm going to be putting a hard full court press on getting you people to go to this class because I plan to go. So I plan to go. So and it's right here in Salt Lake. I mean, that's a major benefit. I used to go to these events, and it would cost me money because I had to get an airline ticket for Monday because you had to get there the night before. Spend Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday, and Thursday in a hotel. Not to mention, and then Friday, you left Friday evening. If you can get a flight out Friday evening, night, you had to stay another night, get a flight out Saturday. So you were 4 or 5 days in a hotel, not to mention 3 meals a day. I mean, it was an expensive trip. Now, the class was free to me because I was paying $1,000 a month in coaching. But, so the opportunity, and I'm even considering, because it's at the hotel, it's at a hotel by the airport. That seems to where they tend to go. And I'm even considering getting a room there because the one thing I did learn when I would go to these events and I'd stay at the hotel, I mean, I was immersed in, because you would hang out, people would fly in from other parts of the country and they would go to these events and you got to hang out in the evening time with people and you would role play and you just meet and network with agents. You just immerse yourself into the craft and the professionalism of being a real estate sales professional, right? So, and that's what, so I may still do it, because what happens is you go to the class, you run home, and then, you forget it all. Because life, and then, and I understand if you got families, shit, that doesn't work, right? For me, I can do, I'm single, so I can take off if I have to, if I want to. So, but anyway, but the point I'm trying to say is that, I believe that much in it to where that I'm going, and I may even considering paying for the hotel. So, anyway, but, so I'll be sending out the emails, stuff like that. I'm going to have to get running here unless anybody has any questions because I had to get prepared for my 10 o'clock call. Anybody have any thoughts, questions, concerns?
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep. I take a thank you as a no, right? All right, so I'm going to stop the recording.